Welcome to HCEC TV. I'm George Pennington, your occasional host, and today we have Professor Brian Dwayne Smith.
I don't know if professor is the right.
Well, we'll see. Or a coach. Okay, Coach Brian Dwayne Smith. And Coach Brian, if you would, give people a little bit of your background. We've been chatting off camera, and I got to know a little bit more about your nefarious days. So go ahead and
Sure, absolutely. I'm not a native Hardin Countyan, like so many folks who call this home. I'm a transplant, and the community has warmly embraced me, and I love living here. But I grew up in Houston, Texas, a large metropolitan city, very, very different from Kentucky lifestyle. I went from
like Cecilia. It's just like Cecilia.
You know,
Tell me the truth. It's just like Cecilia.
I will tell you the biggest cultural change from moving from Texas to Kentucky. I went from a state where football is king to one where basketball is king, and that was a bigger adjustment than making the adjustment from a large city to a more moderately sized community. But I love it here in Kentucky. I came to.
I hear that baseball's pretty big in Houston these days.
Baseball's really big. I went back in the days when the Houston Astros played at the Astrodome. Went to a few games down there, and the funny thing is, so when I was a kid, I thought the coolest job you could ever have was the guy who sold beer at the ball games.
Oh, yes.
Because you get paid to go to all the ball games, and you got to carry around. That was back in the day. They carried around in the plastic cups, and you would shout. They had this great. They said, "Cold foam, coldest foam in the dome, beer here." And I thought, what a great job to get paid for. My career path didn't lead me in that direction, and that's probably a good thing.
There's still time.
Brian,
you're still young. You're still young.
That may be a good retirement job for me.
I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Oh, would you tell people what position you have? I just announced your name, but didn't tell them that you have a real.
I have a real
position.
job. Yes,
you got a real job now these days.
I am the newly elected Hardin County Clerk, and I'm excited. It is now April, so I'm in my 4th month as clerk.
Wow.
Still learning a lot. We have a tremendous staff. They've been wonderful to work with. And but we're nearing election season, so that's why we wanted to chat with you today.
Okay, Coach Brian, you said you made your way from Houston to Bowling Green.
Explain
that a little bit.
Sure, that was great. It was a family transition. My dad changed careers late in life and became a college professor. Got his PhD he got his PhD at Texas A&M University, which is a phenomenal world-class university with a tremendous history with their Corps of Cadets. Their ag program is world-class there. But he ended up getting hired full-time at Western Kentucky University to be an accounting professor.
My alma mater. My nourishing mother, Brian.
Well,
my nourishing mother.
I love Western. It was a great opportunity. Western was the right size school for me. It was the right place. But by being the son of a professor, I got half off my tuition, so that made the college very affordable for me. But it was a great experience. I ended up studying government with a minor in history.
Right.
And my parents were really worried because they know there aren't a lot of government and history stores that are hiring, so they weren't sure I was going to have a job. But I met a young Baptist minister from Hardin County by the name of Ron Lewis, and Ron got elected to Congress, as we know, and he hired me right out of college. That brought me here to Hardin County.
Gotcha.
This community warmly embraced me, and now it's home. I met my wife here. We have kids. My wife and all
Is she from here?
She is. My wife, Brienne, the former Brienne Bateman, is a North Hardin High School graduate.
Okay, Trojan girl.
Local gal. And we have 4 kids. All of our kids were born right here in Hardin County. They all... 3 of them have now graduated. 2 of them are now studying at Western Kentucky University. So I couldn't be prouder of that. Our 3rd older one is working at Target and looking at some great things ahead for him in life.
Awesome.
And then we have an 8-year-old at home.
There you go.
So we're starting that. We'll start that journey all over again.
Keeps you young.
It does.
Keeps you young and fit.
It does.
Yes,
absolutely.
It does. Look at you, young and fit. What's up with that? Yeah. So you were with Ron Lewis, and then what'd you tell me? You went with
when Ernie Fletcher was elected governor, I served during his term. So I served 4 years for Governor Fletcher. He established an Office of Field Services, so he set up regional offices all across the state. I had the opportunity to manage that entire state program. It was a wonderful experience. I got to visit parts of Kentucky. I probably never would have even...
A lot of Eastern Kentucky?
Eastern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, Northern Kentucky.
Because that's his roots, isn't it?
It is. It is. And Eastern Kentucky is such a beautiful and unique part of our state. They've faced some tough economic challenges with the ups and downs of the coal industry. Sure. But they're doing amazing things for economic development out there. But for such a small state, we have a lot of regional diversity depending on where in the state you are. It's a great place to live.
And then after Fletcher?
After Fletcher, Brett Guthrie was running for Congress because Ron decided to retire, and Brett pulled me in to be his campaign manager. So I did that in 2008. Gotcha. It was a great year. It was a great experience. I had known Brett previously from his days in the state Senate.
Okay.
And so he considered him a friend and was willing to take on a campaign manager is a tough job, especially for a campaign that runs 21 counties wide.
That is.
But it was a great experience. It was exhausting, and then he hired me full-time into his staff because I had prior government experience, and I served as his director of economic development. We set up an office in Radcliffe in cooperation with the Radcliffe City Council, Radcliffe Mayor. At the time, Sheila Enyart was mayor. And even though the mayor changed, they all kept us there in City Hall up there. But I handled large economic development issues involving the Corps of Engineers, grant projects, sometimes major transportation projects, FEMA and disaster-related issues. So some really big, tough, complicated things. I enjoyed it, but really my job was this simple. I picked up the phone, I answered it, and tried to help the person on the other end of the phone. That's all it was.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, yeah. And now you have another job, right?
Now the folks of Hardin County have hired me to be their county clerk. I'm excited about the new things that we're going to be doing out of the clerk's office. Right. My primary mission above everything else is to increase our voter participation.
What's it at now?
We're below state average, and it varies from cycle to cycle, but Hardin County has been below the state average, and we've been last place in the Lincoln Trail region for voter participation.
What's our state average? Do you have that data?
I don't have the numbers in front of me, George, but and the numbers are shifting a little bit from election to election. This is a unique election year. And we are only one of 3 states. It's Kentucky, Mississippi, and Louisiana will be electing their statewide constitutional officers this year. And these are really important positions. It's our governor and lieutenant governor, our agriculture commissioner, our attorney general, our secretary of state, and our treasurer and auditor. These are incredibly important positions.
Yeah, they are.
Their decisions impact our business community. They impact us as individuals. They impact which laws will be signed into which bills will be signed into law. And I want everybody to participate. If you're a Republican, I want you to participate in the primary. If you're a Democrat, I want you to participate in the primary. And that's what we're here talking about today is the primary election. That's when the large political parties choose their candidates. And so if you're a registered independent, you will still be able to vote in November, but not in the primary. So the independents and third parties will not be able to participate. But I want a huge turnout for Hardin County so that no matter whom is elected our next governor, they will remember that Hardin County mattered to their election, and they will pay a close attention because, as you know, we have big things here happening.
There's a little bit going on here, isn't there?
A little bit.
There's a little bit going on.
You know, several $1 billion worth of investment in the south end of our county, and that's already spurring other economic development. And that with a background in economic development, I see even as county clerk, that's an economic development position. I want to make sure that we're successful in what we do. So the people, whether you're a native born Hardin County or whether you moved here to take one of these new jobs that are coming to our community, we want to treat you well. We want to make sure you get good service, and we want you to vote.
Voter registration in this area, what kind of trend line are you seeing?
So our voter registration numbers are on par with the rest of the state. It's actually fairly easy. Some people are actually registered and they're not even sure that they are. Normally, most folks, when they get their driver's license or they renew it, those folks will ask, hey, would you like to update your voter registration? And they do it right there.
Right there.
And some folks may not actually remember that they've done that. But the best way to check your voter registration is govote GoVoteKY.com.
Right.
That's a statewide website, and you can do a lot of things there. First and foremost, you can check your registration.
Yes.
If you're not registered or it's not up to date, you can do that there. You can also volunteer to be a poll worker.
Okay.
And you can also check out the sample ballot right there, all on one website,
Okay.
GoVoteKY.com.
Lowercase.
All lowercase. It'll
Yep.
take you right there.
GoVoteKY.com. Yep. No spaces, no anything.
Nope. No spaces, hyphens, or ampersands.
Just a dot and a com. Just a dot and a com. Okay. We got something coming up. Tell me about it.
So the May primary is May 16th, and there are competitive races in both the Republican and Democrat primaries, and it's an opportunity for those registered voters to participate. One of the things I want to do to help increase our voter participation is give people more opportunities to vote.
Okay.
And we have to do that within the confines of state law. So what we're doing for this primary is the big announcement we have is we're expanding our early voting.
Okay.
Early voting was brought back to Kentucky, I should say. Early voting actually used to be a regular thing.
Was it really?
In the first about 100 years of our state's development, and it became restrictive, and you were only allowed to vote on election day. It was brought back into the law during the pandemic.
Sure.
A lot of things changed during the pandemic, some for the worse, some for the better. We learned a lot during those turbulent years. And one of the things we learned is that the 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on election day can make it difficult for a lot of people, depending on their jobs, depending on other things going on in their life. So we'll have 3 days of early voting that occur before the May 16th primary. That's the Thursday, Friday, and Saturday before the election. That's May 11th, 12th, and 13th.
Yes.
And in the past years, that's only been available in the county clerk's office.
Okay.
This year for the May primary, and we'll do the same thing in November, we will have it at the clerk's office. They can come to the county clerk's office in the first floor of the government building. They can also go to Colvin Community Center in Radcliffe.
Okay.
This will expand voting opportunities for the folks in the northern part of the county.
So that's 3 days for early voting.
3 days
Thursday,
for
Friday,
early voting.
Saturday, right?
Thursday, Friday, and Saturday before the election.
8 to 4:30, right?
8 to 4:30, those are the normal business hours. And but one of the things too, we heard a lot of complaints from the election, especially in November.
Yeah.
Folks who have mobility issues standing in long lines.
Sure.
Well, there is an opportunity. You can do an absentee ballot. You can go to the same GoVoteKY.com and you can request a paper ballot. We'll mail that to you. You can fill it out and mail it back, or you can drop it off in our office. So that's one opportunity.
And what are the conditions to do that?
So you need to have the law says blind, disabled, or aged.
Okay.
And that's as far as it's
people
defined.
Of my demeanor. Okay.
So
people of my delicate age.
People can define that for themselves. So if you have a difficulty standing in line,
sure,
so absentee is a great way to do it. But if you don't want to transmit your ballot by mail, if you want, you can still vote absentee in person in the clerk's office, and we actually have 6 days for that. That's May 3rd, 4th, and 5th, May 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Okay.
And those will be only in the clerk's office.
Only in the clerk's office.
But you can come in. We have plenty of accessible parking right outside the clerk's office. You come in, and it's the exact same process as you would experience on Election Day. The same ballot, the same election machines. Everything will be just as it would be on Election Day. And so those dates are for those folks with impairments. It also could be, we know a lot of people are scheduling a surgery or a medical procedure on Election Day. So if you are scheduled for that, or if you're a woman who is pregnant in her 3rd trimester, that would be a good opportunity, because babies are going to come when babies are going to come. And your due date may be May 17th, but that baby may decide to come a little early. So we want to encourage those folks to come out and participate in
Now that was May 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th.
No, May 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and then the 8th, 9th, and 10th.
8th, 9th, and 10th.
And if folks are hearing us and they're watching us and they don't have a piece of paper to write, they can just Google Hardin County Clerk's Office. They can call us. They can visit our website and visit our Facebook page, and all that information is shared there as well.
Well, that's great. You got 5 days there to do that.
That's awesome. 6 days for the in-person, and that's only for an excused absence.
Right.
So and that's what these additional days are wonderful, and people are making use of it. It becomes a little confusing, but if folks come in and they can just share, they don't have to share with us what their medical issue is.
Okay, good.
It's none of our business.
Yeah.
But if you tell us that you qualify under that usage, we accept you.
So it's not an onerous kind of thing.
No, you don't need a note from your doctor or
Okay.
or
Well,
anyone. We just want you to come in and make use of that, and that way you don't have to stand in line.
Sure. Absolutely.
And I know how difficult that can be. We're going to do a few other things on Election Day because I know a lot of people are passionate about voting in person on Election Day. I support that 100%. So we're going to have some chairs out for folks in line.
Good.
But I know for folks, there's some that's really tough, and we want to make it as easy.
And Diet Coke.
Well,
I know we're kind of a Pepsi area too, so Diet Coke,
my wife is the Diet Coke addict in our family, and she's working the polls on Election Day, so she'll probably have one with her.
I'm encouraged to see on Election Day we got a few more precincts.
So we have 10 locations on the May the May primary. Last year there were 7. This year there'll be 10.
Good.
And they are the ones that people are familiar with. They're almost all of them are going to be in schools. And let's just kind of talk about. We've got North Hardin High School, which is a large, fabulous facility. Pritchard Community Center is one great gem in our community. John Hardin High School, East Hardin Middle School.
There you go.
JTA Middle School in Vine Grove, Lincoln Trail Elementary School, Lakewood Elementary School, Creekside Elementary School, and then the old West Point School building in West Point.
Good.
And the West 84th Fire Department out in Big Clifty.
You got the county pretty well covered there, don't you?
We got it
well covered.
We will be in good shape for this May primary.
That's pretty good coverage.
It's my goal for November to actually expand that number. Working with fiscal court on that.
What are you thinking about? 4 more? What do you think?
That'll depend on how the funding we can secure. Part of the things that have come down to county clerks, and it hits us at the local level, there are a lot of state and federal regulations that govern elections, as you can well imagine. And so part of that is the equipment that we have to purchase.
Okay.
And so we have to have a machine at every location that is accessible to the blind. And I love that rule. I want our blind
But it's
voters,
more costly.
It is more costly. And the great thing about their machine is it produces a paper ballot, just like if you hand fill out your ballot. So it will not be an electronic ballot. It will be an actual paper ballot. And it's a machine they put on headphones, and the ballot is read to them.
Gotcha.
And they're able to fill out their ballot with that machine. It's a great device. But that does make the additional, because one of the things I'm asked is, Brian, can't we go back to our original 59 precincts the way we did it before COVID? That would take about $1 million worth of equipment to do that.
And the manning, logistically, is a lot of manning on it.
We struggle every year to get poll workers. Sure. We're in good shape for our May primary, but I will make a plug right now, as I do every time I speak. I encourage people, if you're able to do it, please volunteer to be a poll worker. You can go to govoteky.com and register to be a poll worker. You'll get a follow-up contact from our office, or you can just call the clerk's office. Or if you happen to be in the clerk's office registering your vehicle or getting your tags renewed, just swing by our elections window, and we'll be happy to talk with you about that. The great thing about poll workers is the law used to restrict that to Republicans and Democrats. Now independents are eligible to be poll workers. That's a great thing. I want everybody to participate. And if you love this country and you love the process, it will be a great education opportunity for you. We have someone who reached out to me this week, actually. She's a homeschool parent and has been leading some programs in her group about democracy and about our election system and about government. And she got so excited, she's now volunteered to be one of our election officers. Good. I like to see that. And all you have to be 18 and a registered voter.
Okay, good. How about the integrity of the machines? What kind of machines do we use? What's the process, and how can you ensure the integrity of it?
Sure. So all of the equipment that we use, we're not allowed to use any equipment unless it's certified by the State Board of Elections. And so we use that equipment. It has to be on their approved list, and they go through a process that's both a technical process and a physical process where they check the machines. We actually do that again on the local level. So before any machine is delivered to a polling location, one of these vote centers, we go through a check as well. The bipartisan Hardin County Board of Elections, it bears witness to it. They sign off on all of this. And I'll tell you this, George. We did our own little experiment in democracy here in Hardin County. We took our election equipment to Morningside Elementary School to the second grade classes.
Okay.
And I did a presentation about voting, and we used real ballots, the same type ballots that you will receive on Election Day. The only difference, instead of voting for the politicians on the list, we substituted those names with superheroes. Because we knew the kids would know who Iron Man is and Captain America is. They might not know who the agriculture
Brian D.
commissioner
Smith, maybe, I don't know.
It happened to me, my kids' class. So we took this same equipment. We did paper ballots with a group of second graders. We taught them the proper way to fill out a ballot, which is to fill in the box. Don't put a big check mark in there or an X. When you drag that check mark across, the machine's going to misread it. It could misread it as voting in more than one square. Yes. So we took it to second graders, and those second graders all were able to complete the process.
Right.
We explained to them what an undervote is. So an undervote is if you choose not to vote in one of the races.
Gotcha.
Now, I encourage everybody to vote in every race, but you may not feel comfortable in one race.
Sure.
You're not required to do that.
Yes.
If you just want to go in and you have one particular race, that is your right.
That's an undervote.
So that's an undervote. That is certainly acceptable. But when you turn in your ballot, the machine will ask you, it will let you know you've undervoted, and you have the opportunity to confirm, yes, I meant to do that, or you have an opportunity to take your ballot back and you can complete the ballot. If it will do the same thing if you overvote, and we had that happen in the second grade. We had what we call a spoiled ballot. So when it says you voted for too many in this race, and so the young man he couldn't pick between Captain America and Iron Man, and I don't blame him. That's a hard choice.
Tough choice.
And so what we did is we document that. It's marked as a spoiled ballot. He got a new ballot to fill out.
Okay.
And he was able to complete his ballot and submit it. And
that happens regularly.
It happens regularly. And our election workers are trained in that, and so they can help you through that process.
Interesting.
And then we hand count those paper ballots, and guess what? The second graders, what the machine said they voted is what the paper ballot said they voted.
Okay.
So I feel confident in the integrity of our elections here in Hardin County, Kentucky.
How's that data then transmitted to the central location?
So when we report our election results to the Secretary of State's office and the State Board of Elections on election night, we literally will hand tabulate those final numbers that come from the machines, and we fax it up there.
And you hand tabulate it and then fax it?
We fax it.
So in the transmission, if we're electronic transmission, other than the fax, just little chance of interference.
Yes, and that's why we use a fax submission and not email, because an email goes through several different servers,
it sure does.
And
it's a little more susceptible.
Email is less secure and fax is an older technology, but it's also more secure.
It is.
Now, if for some reason I submit that fax and that fax for some reason the fax line went down or transmission went down, the election is still valid. It just may take us longer to report the returns. But I have real faith and confidence in our election team and our election integrity as it stands here in Hardin County, Kentucky. And that's the only elections I'm in charge of.
How about Bowling Green? They use the same type of equipment?
All 120 counties have to purchase from the same approved list that is approved by the State Board of Elections. Now, each county does things a little bit differently in terms of locations, and their early voting dates early voting locations may vary. But I've gotten, in the short time I've been county clerk, I've gotten to know county clerks all across the state, Republicans and Democrats alike. They are all passionate about election integrity, passionate about the process. They want high voter turnout. They're thinking of unique, creative ways to encourage people to vote. It's up to you, the voter, to decide how you want to vote, but I want everybody to vote. And so I feel very confident in my colleagues across the state. They've been a lot of help to me as well.
Well, I think we've got 2.5 minutes left.
Okay.
give us anything else you want to emphasize?
Well, about
we got 3 minutes. So.
About the election, I just encourage everybody, check your voter registration before you show up at the polls.
Okay. And that's govoteky.com?
Okay. If you are not registered, April 17th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time is the deadline to register. You must be registered by then in order to vote.
April 17th.
April 17th. Now,
Not too long from now.
Now, people have asked about changing their party affiliation. The deadline has already passed to change your party affiliation. Okay. That deadline is always December 31st of every year.
Okay.
So whatever party affiliation you're registered with, that's the ballot that is available to you during the primary.
Right.
Now, of course, in the general election, you can vote for whomever you want.
Sure.
But if you want to change your party affiliation, we encourage you to wait till after the primary and then do that at govoteky.com.
Gotcha. I think we have still a whole 2 minutes, so
okay.
you can regale us with your WKU stories now if you wish.
I had a lot of fun at Western, but I tell you, Western's an even better school now than when you and I attended. They have invested a tremendous amount in their programs. The basketball games are a ton of fun. The football games, we got a new basketball coach coming in.
Yes, we do. It'll be interesting.
He's been hired and charged with getting us back into the NCAA tournament. I hope. The football games are, again, I grew up watching football more than basketball, and so those are always a ton of fun. Our youngest, Everett, our 8-year-old, grew up on the hill. He expected us to go to the football games and the basketball games, and he grew up with Big Red as his best friend.
Oh, yeah.
His first word was mama, like most little boys, but his first sentence was TOPS, 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 tops.
Oh, wow.
So we're proud of that. One other thing I'll mention about the Hardin County Clerk's office, as most people know, what brings you into the office is our vehicle registration.
Right.
We encourage people to get in early. Don't wait till the last day of the month. I know you're writing that check, and none of us want to write it any earlier than we have to. But the lines do get long at the end of the month.
They do. So
we're coming up in July is the month when people with handicap license plates can renew those. That includes a huge number of our veteran population who qualify for those.
Vets like me?
We encourage folks to get in early. Don't wait until July, and don't wait until late July. You can always renew early. You can renew over the phone, and you can renew over the web. So we encourage people to do that.
it early, and I think we have like 10 seconds left. So we're wrapping up. Professor, thank you. Professor Ron back there, thank you. Our choreographer back there, and our writer, our producer, everything. But Ron back there. Brian over here. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Just want to encourage everybody, show up and vote.
Show up and vote. Vote early and often. There you go.
Vote early, not often.
Oh, vote often, people. Vote often.